Exactly what is TikTok speech here?
TikTok, Your Honor, uses an algorithm that in its view reflects the best mix of content. What the act does is it says TikTok cannot do that unless ByteDance executes a qualified divestiture. That's a direct burden on TikTok speech, much less of a burden than the one that this court struck down in the Simon & Schuster case, where all the author had to do was take a certain amount of proceeds and put it into an escrow account for a short period of time to satisfy a civil judgment.
So why does a restriction on ByteDance, which is not a citizen, is not located in the U.S., a restriction on TikTok?
Because what the law says to TikTok is that TikTok, you cannot use the algorithm that you prefer to use unless ByteDance executes a qualified divestiture. So the law therefore falls directly on TikTok itself. It imposes a burden on TikTok speech, again, a much more significant burden than the one that was struck down in Simon & Schuster.
So you're converting the restriction on ByteDance's ownership of the algorithm and the company into a restriction on TikTok speech. So why can't we simply look at it as a restriction on ByteDance?
Because I think the burden falls directly on TikTok, and I can use a hypothetical that helps illustrate the point. Suppose that China used its leverage over Jeff Bezos' international empire, including his Chinese businesses, to force the Washington Post to write whatever China wanted on the front page of the Post. Surely the government couldn't come in and say, Jeff Bezos, you need to either sell the Washington Post or shut it down. That wouldn't just violate Mr. Bezos' First Amendment rights. That would also violate the Washington Post's First Amendment rights, because they are ultimately the one that's suffering the burden under that law, because they have to go dark and close up their books.
Counsel,